Welcome back to Tech Stack. Now let's talk about data binding. When we create a variable in a component and want to connect it to the HTML template, the process is called data binding. In simple words, data binding is how we link the data in our TypeScript code component with what we see on the screen, HTML template. One-way data binding. Two-way data binding. One-way data binding in Angular includes interpolation, property binding, and event binding. Two-way data binding in Angular includes ng model. In this video, we'll be discussing interpolation in Angular. Interpolation allows you to display dynamic data from the component directly in your HTML using double curly braces. It's one of the most common and simple forms of data binding in Angular. First, we'll create a new component for practicing interpolation. To do that, open the Pages folder in the integrated terminal and generate a new component named Interpolation. Now we'll use the interpolation component inside the app component by adding its selector. Now run the application using the ng-serve command. An error occurred. App interpolation is not a known element. This error means that Angular doesn't recognize the tag in your template. It usually happens when the component hasn't been imported into the imports array of the component where you're trying to use it. Oops. The error occurred because it imported interpolation from an Angular compiler by mistake. Make sure to import your own interpolation component from the correct file path. Awesome. Everything is working perfectly now. Let's create a variable named firstName with the data type string and assign it the value John. Since Angular uses TypeScript, this variable is strongly typed, meaning it will only accept string values. If you try to assign a number to firstName inside the constructor, TypeScript will show an error. That's because the variable firstName is strongly typed as a string, and assigning a different type, like a number, violates that type constraint. We'll display the value using double curly braces, which is called interpolation in Angular. Interpolation allows us to show data from the component class directly inside the HTML template. Awesome. Everything is working perfectly now. We can also use interpolation with an input tag to display a value inside an attribute, such as the value attribute. However, Angular recommends using property binding for this use case instead of interpolation. Awesome. Everything is working perfectly now. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe and share.